Go on, mate. You got it linked?
Yeah, it's all ready to go.
Okay.
Just waiting for it to load. There we go. Hello and welcome to the this week's See You Next Thursday. It's a special edition this week because Seamus seems to have discovered how to swear for the first time ever. He's being
In
you know
English.
what it's like. Yeah, you know what it's like. Kids are just, when they discover swearing, they just can't. You can't stop them, can you? So today anyway, it's myself, Ed 1, Ed 25, Sport Billy, and Ed. Number 78, isn't it? Seamus.
77.
So how are you?
Yeah, it's 7.
I'm good, thanks.
77.
You can't
Yeah.
even remember the number
77,
correctly. I know
yeah.
you've already messed that up on Chelsea side.
So it's Billy's. I've no fucking idea. It's Billy's. No, it's Billy's age. I thought, but obviously not. You're a year younger. So,
I'm 64, nearly 65.
my ass. And the rest. I've met you. Remember, you were over that when I met you. That was 20 years ago. Anyway, we'll just get going anyway. Sod asking how you two are, because nobody cares anyway. So
Probably not.
So we'll get into the first one. The first story we start with is the EFL. They've got Sheffield United's in the middle of a takeover from a Nigerian billionaire named Dozy. Seems very believable, this one. Like, yeah. Anyway,
Beaky Mick and Titch are on the board. So we've got Dozy, Beaky Mick and Titch
yeah.
on the board of Sheffield United now.
Yeah, but they're just waiting for proof of funds, which can't be produced until you send him 50 quid, so he can then send you the money, as you know, Bill. So if you could just answer his email, he'll see you right. Don't you worry. He's a Nigerian prince, honest. Yeah. So it's just one of those. It's just crying out to be laughed at, isn't it, if it goes through?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, be interesting. I mean, what, is he Nigerian? When it says a Nigerian billionaire, is that in Nigerian money? Because it's really, it isn't like a million, like 2 pence or something.
They're actually the highest earners in Britain at the moment. The wealthiest in London are all Nigerians at the moment.
Oh, I can believe
rather
that.
than Arabs. Yeah, very, very rich.
I dated a girl in school, like when I was about 16, 17. She went to a private school. She was Nigerian. She said she was a
they got
princess.
money.
No idea if she was or not. Like, I mean, I didn't care. She was just rich. I think it was
That's the main thing.
Yeah, it meant you got fed and stuff. Like, you know what I mean?
As long as she gives you the money, you'll call her honey.
Hey, I'll call her a princess if she wants to be called a princess.
Yeah.
That's fine with
The
me.
honey trap. Yeah.
No, what's happened is Chris is just live on YouTube admitted to being a gold digger.
Oh, he's right.
That's what it is.
I'm still looking for a woman who'll keep me in the manner in which I would love to grow accustomed to. Unfortunately, my missus has got less money than, me. So, so that's not happening. Right, should we move on to the actual, start with the Arsenal-Man City game, shall we? Because, I'm sure Billy doesn't want to talk about Monday night. I'm sure you want to gloss over that, don't you, Bill?
No, I don't mind talking about Monday night. It was coming. So, but let's start with Arsenal.
Okay.
Let's start with Arsenal first.
Yeah, save the best till last, eh?
To be fair, and I've always said they wouldn't, Arsenal started to show signs of cracking, and it proved it yesterday when they just weren't good enough against City. Second half especially. But first half, they had most of the ball, to be honest with you, which is unusual against City. But they can go up gears, Arsenal can't. And I fear for them now for the league challenge. I still think they've got a really good chance of being in the Champions League. But I fear for them winning it, even though they've got 2 games in hand. Have they got 2 games? And
1 game, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
1 game behind.
Oh, it's only one now. Yeah, but
Is it?
I know are they a point or 2 points behind City?
I think they're
And
level. Off the top of my head, I think they're level on points with the
yeah,
game in
level,
hand.
yes, on goal different. But
Yeah, one game in hand.
yeah, I thought they were okay, Arsenal, but I don't think they've got the grit to hang in there, you know. And I said they would, and now Trist and a couple of others said
Seamus,
they
definitely.
thought they'd collapse a bit, you know what I mean? But yeah, they weren't great against Arsenal at all. They still got some fabulous players. Saka's a marvellous player, you know, and they have still got some good players, but fear for them now actually winning it.
For me, I still think it's Arteta's at fault again, because he's cost his team. Once again, bought an overpriced, not good enough player for £50 million. Just like where we heard that before. Like, he bought Ben White a few years back to replace Saliba, sent him out on loan to France without ever giving him a chance. This season he's done it again with Jesus, or Jesus, whatever Gabriel Jesus, replacing Folarin Balogun. He's gone out on loan to France, never gave him a chance. He's excelling. He's scored more goals than Mbappe, for God's sake.
Yeah.
I mean, just give these kids a chance. It reminds me. Do you know what he reminds me of? It's just before Klopp came in, Liverpool went through a real, died on their ass because of Rodgers. Sorry, couldn't think of his name then. Rodgers. What he did was he had an excellent season with kids. Had the kids play them really well, and then he went out and bought players, ready-made players to replace the kids rather than keep playing the kids. That's what the mistake Arteta's making for me. He's doing the same thing. He's buying ready-made players rather than going with the kids that have done so well for him.
Yeah, I can see that, Tristan.
It's not good man management. What do you think, Seamus?
Well, I guess you and I are the only two people left in the world that actually don't think Arteta is any good.
Well, maybe not now.
No, maybe last night I changed the whole thing.
It's not over yet, boys. Not over yet.
No, but Arteta was the dog's bollocks. No, it's not over, and I've said it before, and I'll say it again. I think the highest I can see Arsenal finishing will be third, and I know they're level on points with the game in hand. But
all right, okay.
Maybe that's just wishful thinking from me. But
do you think United might get second, Deeps?
I think we might.
I'm me.
Yeah, they've got a good chance. They're doing well. Rashford's on fire and he's playing really well. And I know we're getting off the subject a bit of Arsenal there, but yeah, they lack firepower. You know, they had 60% of the possession against City first up to about 70th minute when I checked, and they never done a lot with it. And City, they've got gears, haven't they? They can step up a bit, and you wouldn't bank on them not winning most games to the end of the season. So I think Arsenal are going to have to really play out the skin to actually win the championship.
Championship? Jesus, if they got relegated without anyone telling us.
Championship, should I say. It's still a championship, isn't it? You know?
Yeah, so, I know.
Right, what do you think, Trish? Do you think they've blown it, or?
Oh yeah, they've gone. It was always coming. The problem they got is they had they've sent out a striker when they needed a striker. They send him out on loan. I mean, he gave Nketiah a chance at the end of last season. Clearly isn't good enough, but he never tried. He only tried him in desperation last season, and he didn't learn a lesson from that and think, well, I better keep an extra striker back, because otherwise I'm going to end up without any firepower when it matters. And they've hit to a point where they've got no firepower left, and they're going to struggle, and it's going to cost them. Even if Jesus comes back, he's not a goal scorer. He's just not that good. He's No, he's not really good enough for me.
I
I
think
don't
he's
think.
okay.
He's a
He's
good
only
player.
prolific.
He's a good player,
Yeah.
but he's not a goal scorer. He had a good run, but that's it. He's not. He's never. Once his good run's over, that's it. He's just. No, he did the same at City. That's why he ended up being moved to the wing.
Yeah.
He has good runs where he scores a few goals, but
He's not. He's far from prolific. He does a good job, though.
When Núñez was getting hammered for not scoring enough, he'd scored the same amount of goals in the Premier League as Jesus had. And yet, Jesus was being lauded as this great striker and the great hope, and he's scoring loads of goals everyone was talking about. Yet he'd scored the same amount. And I was thinking, hang on, am I missing something? It can't be shite and great at the same time to score 5 goals. It's got to be it's got to be one or the other, but it can't, or somewhere in between. But it can't be both at the same time, can it? Especially not when Núñez was joining a team that was having an absolute disastrous run in really bad form, and Jesus was joining a team at the top that were flying. No, if it was the other way round, you'd be saying, Núñez is playing for a team that were flying and he'd only scored 5 goals. He'd be getting hammered again. You know what I mean? He's not scoring enough. But he was playing in a team completely out of form and struggling, and he scored the same as a player in the team at the top that were running away with the league at the time. How is that? How is one being lauded and the other being, being criticised for not scoring enough?
It will be something like this. Let's say Everton finished 5th with 70 points. And then Liverpool finished 5th with 70 points. For Everton, nobody expected it, so it's already way above expectation. So people are just going to be amazed. But with Liverpool, it will be way under expectation. It's expectation.
Yeah, but Jesus was supposed to be the missing link to score them all the goals. So he was.
No, he wasn't. No, Jesus wasn't supposed to be missing link. He was supposed to be the Messiah.
Yeah, true. I think you're thinking of a different Jesus. I think you get mixed up with Jesus. I know you're not a Christian, so this might be a bit confusing for you, mate. That refers to one particular Jesus when they talk about the Messiah. Yeah, my point was when he moved, because when Jesus joined Arsenal, the Arsenal fans all told me he was going to score more goals than Núñez this season, and they were trying to make me bet with them. And I don't gamble.
No, Trish. I think there was one guy who even said he's gonna score more than Haaland and Núñez combined.
He might well have done, yeah. He might well have done that. They were saying some ridiculous things. They thought he was gonna lead them to the promised land.
Coming.
Yeah.
He thought he was the second coming, Jesus.
I think the first coming was when he signed. I think that guy definitely had a bit more than a hard on for him. Let's put it that way. Yeah. So, see, it's just weird. I mean, Arsenal, they look shot, don't they? They've been, what's it, 1 point out of 9 they've got now? The last 9 points.
Yeah.
Possibly.
Yeah. And they've also got their worst nightmare come to life because Partey got injured.
Yeah.
Well,
that's the difference. Is Partey's been injured in and out the side, hasn't he?
I think they've got a good team, but they haven't got a good squad. They haven't got backup players. I should say Balogun and Partey in the side. They'd probably be stronger. Definitely be stronger. But when they lose a player, especially a Partey's calibre, they are going to struggle because they haven't got back. The backups just aren't good enough.
But they've just signed Jorginho. This is what I mean.
Yeah, exactly. They just signed Jorginho.
What was that all about? I mean, who on earth thought that was a good sign? We missed out on Enzo Fernandez. I tell you who we'll go and get instead. Jorginho. I mean, come on.
Yeah. It was a bit of desperation when he thought Partey was going to get injured, but he's very naive if he thought Partey was going to last right through a season without picking up a knock. So, it's partly him to blame on that front that match.
Sorry, I was waiting for Seamus to add something then. I thought he was waiting to say something.
No, I'm just going to say, like we told you so. Jorginho is not gonna cut it.
Okay, should we move on to Chelsea now?
Hmm.
And the Graham Potter debate.
Well,
go on, Trish.
I was just going to say, last night, obviously they lost again, but a lot of us Chelsea fans are saying the last few games they've started to see signs of improvement. You know what I mean? They started to see the step forward. So yeah, that's quite interesting because still some of them are saying, "Oh, should just get rid of him straight." You know, it's too can't wait for a team to improve. But I just think you know sometimes you've just got to wait, haven't you?
Yeah, I think you've got to give a man a chance. And, you know, he's moved to a new club, a bigger club than he's ever been at. And he will need a bit of time. You know, he's got good players there, don't get me wrong. But I think he's a damn good coach. But things don't just happen overnight. The new players to him, the new style, new ground, new owners. And I think you've got to give Potter more time. You know, I think he'll still do well for Chelsea, but it's not going to be instant. It's not going to be instant.
Yeah, but
he's got to get his own players in there as well.
The problem he's got is obviously you've got people saying, "Yeah, but look at Ten Hag, he's doing really well," and it's like, but they're totally different. They're totally different managers. They develop the play in a they don't they work in a totally different way. Potter's way's been shown to be a long-term, slow burn build-up, and yeah, Ten Hag's done brilliantly, but he started off with a team that was much more competitive. If you look at it, they were much more competitive than the Chelsea team were in an absolute mess. And then they had new ownership that just seemed to be buying players at random in the first window with no real idea what they were doing. And he's walked into this, bought players specifically for a manager they then sacked. I don't understand why people expect him to just do it overnight. It's going to take a while.
And I ask you, did you think half the problem with Potter is that he's gone into a side like Chelsea with the egos are amazing at Chelsea. You know, there's such big players and big personalities. Do you think he's possibly struggling with that? He had like a family-based setup at Brighton, where players who were not household names were coming good for him, playing as a team, really doing well, and then they picked him. He went to there, but all these established players. Do you think he's got the respect he probably deserves there, or they're obviously going to play for him because you're playing for the club as well. But what I'm saying is, do you think that him not being a big time Charlie manager is affecting the team performance?
And no, I think the problem is that it's difficult for you to get players to care about what you've got to say when they think you're probably going to be sacked in 2 days' time, because Chelsea have traditionally just sacked the managers willy-nilly. It's difficult to really get a long-term effect, and he works a lot on psychology. He takes his time, you know what I mean? It takes time, so he needs to get to know the players, to understand them and learn how to motivate them. They brought in someone to help them build team spirit. They brought, you know what I mean? They've shown back to him, which suggested he's got a chance of staying there for the long term, which will help him. I just think it's the way he works. It's not overnight. It just doesn't work like that. He's not one of those that can just flick a switch. And the problem he's got is, like I said, Ten Hag took how long to get them going, but like I said, he took over a more competitive time. Besides, as you look at Jurgen Klopp at Liverpool, his first season, he didn't run out and just suddenly turn round and were brilliant. In fact, he was getting slaughtered in the press. Wasn't he? He was getting absolutely murdered. Do you remember there was that knobhead? Who was it? Was it that who used to work at Man United? Seamus. Do you remember who I mean? The coach, the fitness coach, who was selling his periodic training system bollocks, which is absolute trash. Do you know what I mean?
No idea. No
Raymond
recollection.
Van Oud or something. I can't remember his name now. Shit, that's gone, completely gone. But he used to be in the press every single week saying about how Klopp was overtraining them, and that's why they were never, the performances were so bad. Or every time there was an injury, it was down to Klopp overtraining them, and that's why they're never going to be fit and all this. And then obviously he hid away soon enough after the players, the last few seasons when the players were absolutely overrunning everyone because they were fitter than everyone else. Because the overtraining thing is absolute bollocks in my opinion. Yeah. Anyway, so you get these things, and Potter's having the same, but he's having the same problem that Klopp had when he first walked in. Is that people are out to get him? They don't want him to
What's your
succeed.
take, Seamus? What's your view on the Chelsea situation at the moment?
I think Chelsea are a very lopsided team.
Hmm.
They
Right.
don't have a they don't have a balanced squad.
And
They
where's the
have
goal
too many.
scorer?
Yeah, they have too many players that prefer to play in the same position, that have a similar style of play, things like that. For example, they brought in Joao Felix on loan, who is
Hmm.
basically in style. Maybe he may be a better player, he may be a worse player for people to judge, but he's a player who's very similar to Kai Havertz. Not a
Hmm.
winger, not a striker, not your number 10, somewhere in between.
Uh, do you think
And
they
then
need a goal scorer? Do you think they need a target man, like Giroud used to do for them? Like, uh, who's the other lad who played up front?
Drogba.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Lukaku,
Drogba.
they
Costa.
need Lukaku.
Or even a Lukaku, yeah, Lukaku or a Drogba. Do you think they need someone like that, a target man? Would he be
Maybe
better playing?
maybe not Lukaku, but they will probably be. No, I don't think it's the worst
No.
idea in the world actually. I think there might be some use for Lukaku under Potter, but I think they need a reliable goal scorer who's good with the ball at his feet, who can link up the play and all. But
Do you mean like
I don't know,
Nkunku?
man. No. Nkunku isn't your striker as such. He's again like Joao Felix and Havertz. He's somewhere in between.
Better goal scorer than either of those, though. Maybe not a better player than João Felix, because João Felix is fantastic, but
Oh, but Nkunku isn't that bad either. Come on.
no, he's an excellent player. But that's what I mean. He's maybe not better than Felix, but he's definitely a better goal scorer. He's a very good player, Nkunku. I really
And they
liked him.
also
I
need a
wanted
midfield.
I wanted
Yeah.
Liverpool to sign him, so
Then
obviously
you
he didn't.
guys you should have stopped the poster from changing his name to Jude Nkunku. You do realize he's the jinx, right?
Oh, I've said that. Trust me. I
Yeah,
I didn't want
Jaden
him to
Havertz to
change.
Jude Nkunku.
Mind, I was glad when he had the Jaden Havertz name, because like I didn't want either of them. So he's done us a favour with them.
Yeah, but
Uh,
this is the monster you've created now. Bellingham to Chelsea. They need a midfielder. No,
No.
but no, but to be very honest, even after spending so much money and buying so many players, you can still like suggest about 3, 4 first team players for them before they can even think about challenging.
Oh yeah, they definitely
They
they
need, yeah,
they're
they
so far
probably
ahead.
need a goalkeeper. They probably still
Definitely.
need a centre back.
Definitely. I mean, they've just extended Thiago Silva for another season, so he'll be there next season.
yeah,
That's worrying. He's 38 now.
he's the
Yeah,
same age as
they
me.
need a yeah, he's a good player, but they need a
Brilliant.
contingency plan soon.
Yeah, I mean, he's not going to play many games because he picks up injuries, and that's through no fault of his own. He's an old man now in footballing terms. You can't rely
Yeah,
on
and
a
they
player
need a
that age.
midfield. Chelsea need a midfield.
Mm. Yeah, they've
They don't
got.
need a midfielder. They still need a midfield. They've
Mm.
got Enzo,
Yeah,
but they need someone to partner him.
Yeah, because
they've
they've
got
got.
some very good players, haven't they? They've got some very good players, but they're not playing like a unit. That's their problem. They have got
I,
some fantastic players, though.
I see a lot of misfits at Chelsea. Like I don't know.
Yeah,
Maybe it's just
Yeah,
my lack of knowledge
no, I agree with
of
you.
the whole situation. Either like Potter needs to change his ideology a bit to fit the players, or a lot of the players don't fit his system quite perfectly.
Yeah, but he'll manage. He'll switch it around. I think he'll alter his system to get the most out of what he's got. To be honest, long term.
Yeah, but I guess if Kante ever gets fit, then a lot of the issues will be solved.
Yeah, I mean that's a special talent there, isn't it?
I remember going through one of the posts saying like the best player at Chelsea still is Kante, but sadly he's never fit. And that came from one of the Chelsea posters, so I guess he's seen more of the players than I have. And from whatever I know of Kante, that's not a bad claim.
No.
I mean he's top class, isn't he?
Yeah, but I read somewhere that he's not played since August or September. That's way too long.
Yeah, and it's a big risk. He's getting on now. You know, will he ever reach his best?
Should we move on to the sacking of David Nicola?
Well, before we do that, do you want to talk about the Derby match quick?
Yeah. I'll talk about the Derby game. I haven't got a problem with it. I did say at the time before the game, I didn't think Everton had much of a chance against Liverpool. The old saying comes back: you can't polish its head, and you can't. And what happened was Liverpool were really up for that, which beggars the question: why haven't they been up for it all season? I must admit.
Yeah.
But they were really up for that. They were chasing every ball. It meant a lot to them. Every game should mean a lot to them. But they were better than they've been for quite a while now. And Everton couldn't live with them. Our players are not as good as Liverpool players. And if Liverpool are on the game, they're as good as any side in the country. We know that. And they were just too powerful. It could have been 3 or 4 in the end. I still think the game turned on the Tarkowski header hit the post. If that had gone in, it might have been a different game. But it never. Liverpool broke away, scored, and from there was no way back for Everton.
For me,
I think. Go on, mate.
No, I was just going to say I saw what we talked about earlier about Klopp in his first season when the players looked tired and that. I saw the same thing in Everton players. For me, I think they've just where Dyche is working them hard to try and get them fit up to the levels of fitness required to play the way he wants to play. Obviously, they're nowhere near that fitness. So the first few weeks, there's gonna be times when the players' legs are just gonna be so heavy until they develop the basic fitness. And I think that was the biggest issue I think for Everton in terms of why it could have ended up being 3 or 4. Why they folded? Because they lost the adrenaline rush because they conceded. It was at such a bad time.
Yeah.
And I think
then
they felt the legs. I think that was what happened. Once that had gone in, because he's just on the attack. You've just hit the post, and then they've gone up the other end and scored. That's
it inflated them. Yeah, it did. But there is a bit of a caveat with the Everton game, and I've said this on the sites of the Everton lads. Losing Calvert-Lewin, who's our only focal point we've got, was a big loss. And Ellis Sim, as much as he tried. But he's just not good enough quality to come into a side and lead the line. It's not his game. And he's only a young lad. And Everton had no focal points and they got themselves in a bit of a rut then because they had no outlet ball. And that's going to be Everton's problem for the rest of the season, I think, if Calvert-Lewin doesn't get fit. They've got no outlet.
I'm not convinced Sims is even good enough for the Premier League, to be honest. Not yet. It might be in the future, but I don't see him as a Premier League player.
Stage.
Yeah,
absolutely. But what else have they got, Trish? They haven't got much there. And that's why there was a lot of anger with the Everton supporters in the window that we never went out and bought a forward. What's Chilwell doing? What's the board doing? Are they happy to just see us fall into oblivion? I don't know. I wouldn't think so.
Yeah,
But they
Singapore are
should
still
have
getting it.
signed someone. They should have signed someone, just and it's going to bite us on the arse, to be honest with you. But
So why did he
what can
not?
you do?
So do you think he made the right decision to not pick Mope?
To be fair, what I've seen of Mope, he's not good enough either.
I'm
I
with you on
think
that.
he was. Yeah, he's not good enough, but he hasn't got the wherewithal neither to actually, or the pace to trouble even the likes of Muppets. I should have said Muppets. I should have said Muppets. But he hasn't got the pace to challenge even him, to be honest with you, because he just hasn't got the wherewithal. And so, he threw a dog a bone and said, we'll give this 22-year-old lad, big, strong lad, give him a chance, and hoping for something, never come to fruition, obviously. But Liverpool were by far the better side. They've got far the better players. And as you say, it could have been 3 or 4 in the end. But we're not going to face Liverpool every week. And that's the only saving grace that we've got. That's it.
Do you think it's? Do you think that's a sign that really you're going to get relegated at the end of the season, or do you think this is just a one-off bad result and you can still pick up the results you need to survive?
Well, the way I look at it, Trish, is we had 2 of the toughest games you're going to have in the league over the last fortnight, which is Arsenal and Liverpool, 2 of the best sides in the country, undoubtedly. And we got 3 points out of that. I'd have been made up with 1 point out of that, looking at it before the fixtures. I'd have been very happy with a point out of that. I'd settled for a point. But we got 3. Now, it's up to the players now to show a bit of gumption and come back from that. And it will be easier against Leeds. Don't get me wrong, it's not a foregone conclusion, the Leeds game, by the way, at the weekend. But they'll have a better chance against them than they did against either Arsenal or Liverpool. And he's still got a chance. They've still got a fighting chance, I believe. And if you got Calvert-Lewin fit, if he ever does get fit, I think we will have a chance to survive. I'm not saying we're not dead yet, but it's going to be a really hard slog till the end of the season. It really is.
So, will you stay up? It's asking you now. Will Everton stay up?
It's 50-50 for me, but if I had to put money on it, I'd say they were going down.
Right.
That's
Seamus,
my honest opinion.
Everton stay up or go down?
I'm not quite made up on that.
Oh.
If Lampard was still there, then definitely down. But
Yeah.
with Dyche, and with still so many points to play for, you never know.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I think if anyone could do it, it'd be Dice. So I'm with you,
Yeah.
Billy. I think I'm in the same where it's like I can't tell. They're still too close. Anyway, should we move on? You mentioned Leeds, so should we do the managerial roundups now? I think you mentioned it a minute ago. Salernitana sacking David Nicola and then reappointed him 2 days later and then sacked him again within a month. Leeds decided, sack Marsh 60, however many months after they'd given him, was far too late. He should never have been in the job in the first place. But to sack, they eventually sacked him, and now they can't find anyone to replace him. Southampton sacked Nathan Jones, and then tried to get Jesse Marsh, who'd just been sacked by Leeds for being shite. I mean, why? and then just to top it off, this week we've had Colin Wanker back. He's taken charge of Huddersfield. I mean, what the fuck is going on? Sorry, I sounded like Seamus now, but
The merry-go-round it is, isn't it? How did Jesse Marsh actually get in the frame for the Southampton job? I think I told you he was once a 4 favourite. He might actually get the job now, which would be good for Southampton.
No, he's turned them down. He's turned them down. I
heard that it was still ongoing, but he's not happy with the contract. But I don't know whether he's still in the frame. But
last I heard is he turned them down. So
He's got a cheek turning anyone down, hasn't he? For me, like.
It's insane, isn't it? I mean, you'd think he'd just jump at the chance to get a job. I mean, he's shite. It's
No, but
insanity that someone would go for
but
him.
my question is, who the hell is the guy running the ship at Southampton?
Yeah.
Did they not learn anything from the whole Nathan Jones debacle?
Do you know what? I'm honestly wondering if is it Fair Sport that bought them? Can't remember. So whoever it is, I'm honestly wondering if they're deliberately trying to get them, trying to wreck this shit. Are they a
You
set
can
of
see that.
Portsmouth fans? That's what I'm beginning to wonder because there's no reasoning beyond any of the decisions made lately. I mean, first off to give Hazard a little more time, then to bring in Nathan Jones as the replacement, and now try and get Jesse Mars to replace him. What?
Yeah, I know. That was an amazing. That's why I texted you with the news about it. For the simple reason, I couldn't believe that anyone would appoint Jesse Marsh after what the job he done at Leeds.
Nah.
And I just couldn't understand why they went for him. What experience has he got? What good has he done in managerial terms to be the favourite to land as the Southampton job? I just couldn't see it myself.
Seamus can probably tell you what he's done.
FA.
Go on, Deeps.
Yeah.
Tell me what he's done.
Swede FA.
He got sacked by Leipzig for being shit. He did all right at Salzburg, but that's like a bit like saying, you do all right. I can't. In fact, I can't even think of. It's a bit like having an under. You're going into a
No,
under 12s
the thing
league,
is like
and
this.
your
No.
team's an under 21s team. It's like you're so far ahead of the rest. It's easy.
No, like doing well at Salzburg compares to something like winning the league with Bayern Munich.
I don't
That's
even think it's
like-
that difficult. I think it's even more lopsided, their league.
No, but what my point is, like, winning the league is like the bare minimum. That doesn't
Mm.
even make sure you get the job next year. It just means like you lasted a year
Yeah.
and that's enough.
With the Salzburg thing as well is you don't actually have to do anything because it's all set up. All you're doing is going in there and taking over an already existing. It's a bit like the Brentford job. When you first get in there, you're not actually having to do anything other than just keep it ticking over. It's
And
only
especially,
as time
especially
goes
if you
on.
come through like the whole system from
Mm.
Red Bull, I guess like a lot of the times the appointment
Like Marsh.
happens, yeah, in family, within the Red Bull family. So you not only just need to keep the things ticking over. It's even less hard for you because you already are familiar with the ins and outs of it all. So you don't even actually need to be that good to do that well for Salzburg.
Yeah, exactly. And then you get the step up to Leipzig if you do well, and that's when you get found out whether you're actually any good or not. And he got found out there as being terrible. But I mean, it was bizarre that Leeds chose him. So
No, the only explanation I have for that is the ownership.
American
49ers.
Yeah,
Yes, 49ers. Yeah, that was
And that's
100%.
that is why I was intrigued, like who the hell is running Southampton? Because the only thing that I can see being used as justification for JC Marsh would be an American connection, and that's it.
No, I think they're. Hang on, I'll have a look. I can't remember
I,
where
like
they're
I was under the impression that it was
I thought they
the
were
majority
Chinese.
owner. No, I thought majority owner of Southampton are from the Eastern European country. They were previously co-owned by a Chinese group, but I think they sold out.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember who it is. Isn't it? I'm sure it's Fair Sport or something.
Yeah, whoever it is, sort to act out because Jesse Mars is like, I don't want to swear, so
Well, no,
he's
Sport
not that good.
Republic, that's it. Sport Republic. Serbian.
Right.
I think it's Serbian. You're right. I think.
Isn't Serbia like from Eastern Europe?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think you're
Yeah,
right.
it's Eastern European, yeah.
Yeah, but that happens a lot. It's like, yeah, I'm right. Yeah, okay.
Well, it's unusual enough that we have to mention it. In fact, it's still a bit of a shock.
No, but who do Southampton go for next? That's a big question.
Well, I don't know who's failed miserably in a job. I'm telling you, it's definitely. I mean,
No.
Serbian.
If
Hang
you,
on. Has Serbia got any links with Portsmouth? Didn't they have? Aren't they? Didn't they used to be
Nico
owned by?
Kranjčar.
Yeah, and Nico
No, but he's
Kranjčar.
Croatian.
No, he's
He's
Croatian. No,
Croatian.
no, they did. They didn't. They used to be owned. What's his name? The old owner, the one that nearly destroyed them. Remember? Called it that had Harry Redknapp working under him. Do you remember? Their old owner. He was Serbian, wasn't he?
I don't know, mate.
I'm telling you, definitely, they've got to be Portsmouth fans. Telling you, Sport Republic. Consider Jesse Marsh. So, who's shit in the Championship now? Because they've already appointed Nathan Jones. So,
Colin Wanker.
no, he's just gone back to one of his old clubs, hasn't he?
Torrey done well at Wigan. He could be next in line.
Yeah. How long did he last? What, 10 days was it?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, he's got to be in line then.
Yeah, of course he is. Yeah.
No, but genuinely, like, what sort of manager do you think, like, what profile of manager do you think Southampton need? Because I think they've done a very good job in the January window buying players in. I'm actually impressed with their business overall.
Yeah, excellent.
Especially considering they were rock bottom. They've actually given themselves a chance, so I don't know whether they need a defensive-minded coach, an attacking-minded coach, somewhere in between.
What they need is someone who's good with working with kids. You know, like because what they've done is they've bought, and he needs to be someone not like Nathan Jones who plays long ball football, but someone who plays passing football. Because they've brought in a lot of youngsters from Manchester City's academy. You know, they've worked in the Man City system, and they play passing the ball around. You know, they do a lot of rondos and that in training and that. That's the kind of thing they're used to. They're used to short passing football. So they need someone who's going to be able to get the best out of those kind of players if they're going to make progress.
But could you understand the Nathan Jones appointments to begin with? He was never going to do any good there, was he?
Well, that's what I mean. They bought all these players who were short passing football players, and then they brought in a long ball merchant.
Yeah.
It was bizarre. It just smacks of somebody not actually knowing or doing any research on the man, or deliberately trying to take them down. That's the only. That's what it feels like. I mean, it's just insane.
They might want the parachute payment. Maybe that's what they're after.
I don't know. They might as well just go. They might as well just appoint Seamus. He'll do better. Seriously, I would.
Oh yeah, and they have
Seamus
to pay me a lot less.
Exactly.
Pay me a lot less as
But
well.
I don't know.
He couldn't do the press conferences. Just he couldn't do the press conferences. He'd swear too much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I have my body double do it. I'll be out on my other ventures.
And he'd be wanting too big a house to live in because he's used to mansion living, so they couldn't provide one big enough in the area.
No, South Coast should be, I guess it would be much better for me.
It'll be closer to your modelling career in London. You could go to London nice and easy then, couldn't you, Seamus? So, on that catwalk.
Yeah, the cats can walk, yeah.
Strutting your stuff.
Right, where are we moving on to now, Trish?
Is there any of the others needs to? I mean, they've decided to give Skubala more time because, like, basically nobody else wanted the job. I mean, where do they go as well?
Yeah, they never.
No, they should go for Marcelino. I've said it before. They should try their hand with Marcelino.
Yeah, I think that's a good shout.
Yeah, instead of I don't know why these clubs feel the need to go after managers that are employed. Because in mid-season, the only managers you're gonna go after are gonna be the ones doing well. If they're doing well, then why would they want to take a risk with a team that's very close to relegation?
Yeah. I mean, there's none of them that are looking like the right type for them that are doing well anyway.
No, like for example, I could recommend
I mean,
from every league.
yeah.
Anyone could recommend a good managerial candidate,
Hmm.
but they would already be fighting for European places at
Yeah,
least.
true. I was meaning compared to Marcelino. I was saying there's nobody that stands out as being a better option than Marcelino. Okay, he's
Oh,
mad.
Adi Hooter. Yeah, Adi Hooter.
Oh, is it? Yeah, no, I think
My
Marcelino's
boy Adi
very
Hooter.
suited. Yeah, I know you love Eddie Hutter, but I think for that, the way they play football with the high press and that, I think Marcelino's perfect. I mean, he's just like a madcap little midget on the sidelines who bounces around like crazy. But he is a good manager. To be fair to him, he's a very good coach.
No, I think Marcelino is like if you cross Marcelo Bielsa with Antonio Conte.
Yeah,
He's you get him.
Well, they
and
need him then.
except he would never sit on a bucket because he doesn't stop long enough. He doesn't stop still, does he, Marcelino?
Right.
Yeah, but I don't know, like Leeds. They were quite good against us. I watched our game. I watched the second half, not the first half.
Oh, cats are fighting
They were
outside.
quite
Great.
good.
Were
They
they?
were quite good.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
not. They play some good football, but they just don't have
No,
enough
I'm, no,
quality in the
I'm
team.
actually surprised. Like, no, I'm actually surprised they're like that close to relegation because they have a decent enough team. So I guess it just reflects bad on JC Mars.
Exactly.
I think they've got the same problem as all the teams in the relegation uh, scenario now that they, they haven't got a goal scorer. And, you know, I think that's Leeds' biggest problem. They're very fit. They get all over the pitch. They work hard. But they haven't got someone who can put the ball in the net.
Yeah.
And
I
you've
guess
only got
I guess the
Bamba.
issue I guess the issue for them has been like Bamford has struggled with fitness concerns,
Yeah, yeah,
and so has Rodrigo. So
Yeah, but Bamford misses too many chances.
yeah. He does for me as well, sure.
Yeah,
no,
far
but
too much. I'm not a
if you're
fan.
having to constantly change the player at like especially in their system, I think a number 9 is very like vital to the way they play. And if you're constantly having to change players around there, then it's not a good look. But I like the look of both of the wingers. That Nonto, although he's very
Nonto,
small,
yeah, Nonto's good.
looks he looks like pocket dynamite, and Somerville also looks quite good.
Summerfield, did you say?
Yeah, Somerville.
Oh, Somerville. I was going to say, I didn't know who that one
Yeah,
was.
he's only a young
Yeah,
kid.
the young kids. Yeah, yeah. I forgot. I
Yeah, he's
thought
good and
when you
looks good.
said winger, I was thinking of that Jack Harrison. I was thinking, yeah, I'm not that keen on him. He just a lot of hustle and bustle without any actual quality for me. But yeah,
No,
Somerville's
Somerville look
highly
decent, but
rated.
it's yeah.
Yeah, he
They've,
looks decent, so son.
someone to develop anyway.
Yeah.
Should we move on then to? Right, I think we're gonna have to do the Barcelona for a change because they're never in the news, are they? Them. I mean, it just seems like there's just new stuff coming out all the time. But this time, I mean, it's Barcelona City Police, the Mossos. However it's pronounced, I'm not sure. My Spanish isn't good enough to figure that one out. Yeah, they've charged him with paying journalists to defend himself and attack rivals for his position. Like, you know, he's been paying backhanders to journalists. I mean, you're talking hundreds of thousands of euros being paid to two particular journalists to,
Right.
back it.
I,
So, like
I
this,
don't think anything surprises us now with Barcelona, do we? Does
yeah.
it? Because there's such a mess, aren't they, behind the scenes? And as I say, that you know, the scumbags, aren't they? Basically, yeah, out of a club.
Yeah, well, I mean, how could they be so? I mean, we've heard we've seen the text message chain between the president and his people. So Bartomeu at the time it was. So we know what kind of people. I mean, because how could they say such horrible things about that nice boy Lionel Messi? I mean, obviously they've got they've got to be scumbags, aren't they? But yeah, so it's just par for the course, isn't it? And then you move on to just another similar thing is Tebas, the La Liga president. He's picking more fights now after. He's bored of fighting with the Premier League, Manchester City's owners, PSG's owners, Paris Saint-Germain. Oh no, I already mentioned that. Sorry, Barcelona president Juan Laporta, Real Madrid president Florentino Perez. He's had fights with. So now the European Super League. He's been fighting with them, and he took offence because it's like I said, he's been fighting with the European Super League, and the Spanish FA president Luis Rubiales said that he was the best ambassador for the European Super League. So he had a real bitch fest at him on social media. So he's just thinking, why bother? He's just proving his point. You're just being a dick for the sake of it, aren't you?
Yeah.
It's embarrassing, some of the stuff. I mean, why does he have to fight with people? I mean, you're in a job like that. Surely you need to be a bit of a diplomat.
Yeah, you'd think so. But obviously he's got his own ways, hasn't he? And I can't see him being made president, can you?
Well, he's president of La Liga.
Yeah, I mean, if the breakaway league.
No, he certainly won't be involved in that. No, and he won't. He's not going to be on anybody's Christmas card list at this rate.
No, he isn't. No.
So, well, while we're on about fights, what about Massimino Allegri? Did you see this one? Seamus is probably the one who's most likely to have seen this one. Have you seen this one, Seamus?
Sadly not.
Oh, brilliant! He literally, this guy just giving it some, one of these in the crowd shouting. I'm assuming it's abuse. You can't really. I mean, my Italian isn't that good. He said it was abusing his players. I mean, I've no idea what he was shouting because I didn't understand it. But he's basically gone over. He's gone over to the crowd and said. Pointed to this fella and told him shut up and come down here and say it to me face sort of thing. It's like come over here if you think you're hard enough, mate. Come on. But I think the pressure's getting to him a bit though, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely.
They actually won the game, that's the thing.
1-0.
Yeah.
It's Fiorentina. Yeah.
But still, the way they've been playing, that's a bit of a miracle these days.
No, actually they've improved. The results had improved
since
recently.
They got docked points.
No, before they got docked point, you maybe don't know, but they were actually second before they were given the 15 points reduction. They actually before playing Napoli and consequently losing 5-0 was it?
Yeah, they got battered. That was the last one I saw, so I assume that was indicative of their season.
Before that, they had 8 consecutive clean sheets and one
right.
victories and things like that. They were starting to play like a Max Allegri team.
And then they faced Napoli.
Turned up.
Yeah.
No, not only did they face Napoli, they faced a 15-point reduction.
Yeah.
And everything went up in flames.
That Napoli game was a bit of a shocker, though, wasn't it?
But that Maradona is quite a player. He's a handful. Osimhen is actually very handful as well.
I'm surprised he's succeeded against them, I've got to be honest, because his touch isn't... He's very like Lukaku for me, in that his touch is a bit heavy, but if you give him a ball over the top to run onto, he's a genuinely dangerous player. But he looks to have improved his touch from what I've noticed this season. He looks a much better, more complete striker this season.
I did tell you his touch is inconsistent, so I don't know whether it's poor technique or just because he's so quick. It's just not possible for him to be always on it.
So he looked much better. The games I've caught this season, he's looked much better. I haven't watched a lot, I gotta say, but he does look to have improved his touch massively. It doesn't look as inconsistent. He looks like he's. Whether that's because the games I saw, like the Juventus one, he wasn't getting on the ball at pace. So you might be right. It might just be down to his pace because he was taking it down. He was taking it in and swiveling and that. You know what I mean? It was a control. While he was still most of the time. Wasn't so much of him just chasing it over the top or anything. So yeah, you might have a point there. It might be just down to his pace. But I mean, while we're on about Juventus, did you see about Mohamed Ayatollah's on his 21st
No, I never
birthday
seen
on
it.
Sunday?
I think he's gonna end up a bit like Ravel Morrison did for us.
Yeah.
Oh, he's gone. They're not gonna. He's not. He's got no way back, has he? To Juve now. He was arrested anyway. For those who don't know, he was arrested on Sunday. It's his 21st birthday, and he was arrested for a conflict of relational nature, which tends to mean domestic abuse. Usually, not necessarily.
Yeah.
But I'm just giving you an idea what it usually refers to. It's not the first time. I mean, he was arrested in November for violent threats. He was on loan at Ajax, wasn't he, last season? Was it Ajax last season? I think it was last season anyway. And I had Wesley Sneijder offered to mentor him to try and help him because he's having a lot of off-field troubles. So Wesley Sneijder offered to act as a mentor for him. And he lasted like 2-3 months before he walked away because he just said the lad can't focus on football. He's just getting himself into scrapes all the time. There's nothing you can do. He doesn't want to know. And he gave up.
Yeah, another Mason Greenwood. Do you think another Mason Greenwood scenario?
Yeah, Ravel Morrison, Mason Greenwood. He's just going to go into a downward spiral.
Yeah, you can see it, can't you?
Seamus, you think so? See it?
Like I said, like waste of talent, waste of potential.
Yeah, because he looked a good player, didn't he?
Well, he was considered the best of this upcoming Dutch generation at one point. And now
Right.
he's 20. And now he's 21 without any caps.
Yeah, and it looks like he's about to be bombed out of Juve. That's such a shame. But I mean, while we're on the subject of players that like lifestyle shit, Neymar's not just upsetting his teammates because he had a big fight, didn't they, in the dressing room? Because without Mbappe, they haven't been winning. Basically, it's clear now he's been carrying them. Anyway, so they had a big fight in the dressing room. Him and is it Marquinhos, the other Brazilian? Basically, those two against the rest, by the sounds of it. And having a go at Luis Campos as well, having a fight with him. But now he's also his parties have got so wild and so long lasting at night. This is even while PSG are losing games. I remember they're having a bad run. Even so, he's still partying so much that the local mayor's actually been called in to intervene and try and calm it down because. Especially after because it was his 31st birthday party last week, and apparently it just went mad. All the neighbours calling the police, and so the mayor ended up contacting his landlord and saying this ain't good enough, you've got to be stopped. So it's how long till
Do you think it's just about football now, Tris, or do you think it's a way to manoeuvre a move to somewhere?
That's just the way he is. He's always been like this. Is what the fallout with him and Mbappe. Why Mbappe hates him. This is what the problem was. Is because he turns out he's not got a problem with him. The problem with him is, and he's always said, that the argument was he doesn't work hard enough in training and he parties too hard at night. He doesn't, he's not professional with his lifestyle. He doesn't care about, he's constantly fucking off on holiday. You know what I mean? He doesn't care. And he also, whenever there's a defeat or there's a bad performance, whatever, he always points the finger at one of the kids in the squad. Always. Like this week.
Yeah.
This week the reason why the fight started is because he had to go. He blamed Hugo Ekitike, who's like a youngster, and that Vitinha. He blamed them for the defeat. Well, you're the man. You're supposed to be the leading, the star man.
Yeah.
Like, if anyone should be taking the blame, you should be saying it's my fault. You know what I mean? If you're a leader, which he's supposed to be.
Yeah, yeah.
What do you
He's
think?
just a nasty piece of work for me, like, but
I just can't see how much longer I can't see how much longer he can play for. I think his career's gonna be got to be starting to wind down now. He's not performing. He can't. You can't keep on performing when you're not training to your best. It does start to affect you when you're partying like he does. What do you think, Seamus?
yeah.
I've seen him linked to Chelsea, and it's a damning sign for the Potter and the whole Chelsea fan base, I guess.
Yeah, I'd say so, this.
Christ, you wouldn't want him at your club, would you? I mean, let's face it, even Everton aren't. You need a striker, but a forward. I mean, to score your goals. But would you take Neymar?
No.
He
That's a my point, Neymar.
He'd destroy the club, wouldn't he, if you brought him in?
Yeah, it's the wages he's on and all that. He's a big time Charlie. I'm not a fan of his at all. He's a very skillful player, very talented man, but you can't have people acting the way he does and be any use to your club.
He could take over the Anthony Gordon role, though. Or literally rolling around pretending to be injured for 85 minutes of a match.
No, he would be an improvement on that, though. He would be like upgrade.
I'm pretty sure Anthony Gordon modelled his game on him.
But I'm pretty sure, like, if Neymar came to Premier League, he would be injured more than half the time.
Oh, I can't imagine him playing more than one game because he'd shit out, wouldn't he? I'm not having this.
Yeah.
They actually tackle me here. Oh. I don't know how we made it in Brazilian football because some of their games can be vicious. Right?
Yeah, it's very.
Just imagine,
football.
guys, just imagine him running away against Manchester United, and then Lisandro Martinez is not only gonna take the ball away from him, make sure there are some stud marks on his ankles.
Oh, yeah, I can't imagine. I can imagine quite a few people be loving the chance to give him a kick. I tell you.
No, but like in this day and age, not a lot of players actually like to leave a bit of mark on the players. Lisandro Martinez, I've noticed.
Oh, he does.
Makes sure the player knows who tackled him.
Oh yeah, very much so. He's old school, isn't he? Yeah. Anyway, should we move on? I don't think there's anything more we can add on Neymar apart from he's a prick.
Yeah.
Yeah. Parties like he's Rob.
No, I'm just amazed. Like at least this year he's not actually injured for his birthday.
Oh,
That's
shit,
usually how it goes. Like,
yeah, but that might have been only because Messi and Mbappe were out injured on his birthday, so he probably couldn't be. Because normally he fucks off home, doesn't he? Sorry, I'm standing like Seamus today. This is your fault. You're a bad influence on his Seamus.
Yeah, when is the Rio Carnival?
That's around the same time, isn't it? Isn't that this month or next month? I mean, be next month.
It's
When
around about this time.
And his sister's birthday as well as the other one, isn't it?
I think they all line up around a similar time. And
yeah. Yeah, usually goes back.
It's tomorrow, I guess. Like Rio Carnival starts from tomorrow.
I wonder if that's what. I wonder if that's why he was so whiny and causing a fight. Then probably explains the wild parties. They're not used to it. Like you think they'd get used to it being their neighbours of his, but obviously, like most of the time, he's away on holiday, isn't he? So they never get to see them normally. He reminds me of what was his name? The left-footed striker.
Adriano?
Yeah. Oh, what a player he was. But I mean, his lifestyle, it absolutely destroyed him. But he just stopped caring about football after his dad died.
He has a bit more leeway, I guess.
But he's getting away with it, Neymar, for me. And I wonder how much of him playing these games though is down to the fact that they were trying to sell him in the summer, so there's no need for them to give him leeway anymore because they don't really want him. So, before they were a bit mollycoddled him. Now, no need because they don't care. He's there because they can't get rid of him rather than because they want to keep him. So, do you think, Seamus? Do you think there's a bit of that to it?
Yeah, and like PSG are really stuck with him because I guess his contract still has 3-4 years to go. So they have to try and sell him. They can't even like let him leave on a free.
Yeah, and who's going to want to buy him and pay his wages?
Yeah, that's
like
the thing.
pay
His
the
wages
fee,
are
pay the fee for him,
astronomical.
his wages. Especially with Juventus now actually being in the dumpster with their finances.
Yeah,
I can't see him come to the Premier League, though, can you? It
Maybe
just wouldn't suit
Barcelona.
him.
Maybe Barcelona might take him
Take him
back,
back.
but I guess that's about it.
But I can't see how they can afford it. I mean, they're already being told to lose. Was it 200 million off their 200 million euros off their wage bill to sign the players they've got?
Yeah, like that's the issue. Like there isn't a genuine taker in the European market anymore because I don't see like maybe with Chelsea you never know, and maybe with new owners at the clubs you never know. But right now I don't see any Premier League team actually going for him.
No, mate.
No, I don't.
I don't see any.
Uh,
Potter certainly
and-
wouldn't want him.
And outside of Premier League there is basically no money, so no point even discussing it.
Yeah, it's no wonder they got stuck with him, really. What can you do with him? You're going to end up paying his wages. Well, if they're in a situation with FFP, they can't afford to do that, can they?
No.
Yeah, that's a real problem. I can't see what they can do unless someone like Aston Villa who's wanting to make a splash, or maybe if someone like that could come in and take him on. But I can't see any of them wanting him. But like,
No, I don't think Aston Villa. Like if Newcastle hadn't actually sold their hand in the transfer market, I would have said like they have new owners, wealthy owners, want to make a splash, but they seem to be much more like. I'm really
Control.
impressed with Newcastle's business. Yeah, they
I-
seem to have a plan.
I
They seem to have a plan for.
I was till they signed Loris Karius, and then they
Twice.
compounded it by releasing him and then re-signing him again. I mean, what the fuck is that all about? I mean, to make it once is a mistake, but when you've got rid of him, why would you re-sign him? And then they went and signed Anthony Gordon in the winter window as well. I mean, that's it. They've obviously shown signs that they've lost the plot. I think.
No. Signing Anthony Gordon isn't a bad thing necessarily.
is.
Signing him for 40 odd million is a bad thing.
No, I think just signing him's a bad thing. He just isn't a very good player. I don't understand why he was so highly rated.
The buying potential, aren't they? He's
He ran
quick.
along.
He's the quickest
He
in the
ran
Premier
along.
League, actually.
He's not, because
He is,
He's not. We've already
No,
established.
no, I
Nunes has
think
got
he's
the
a
highest
player.
speed rate, highest clock speed.
Who?
I
Nunes.
think Gordon is somewhere close enough apparently. But like if
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
I think he was
No,
the
but if
quickest,
you
to be
said,
honest with you.
no, if you said to me like what do you think of Anthony Gordon, I think I would have used many words before I wound it up with quick or rapid or fast. He doesn't. I'm not saying he's slow, but he doesn't come across as being like a pace merchant basically.
He runs around a lot, but achieves nothing. And
He's a hard worker. He's a hard worker.
yeah.
He's a trier, but
he's got
He's a headless
He's got no
yeah.
skill. His technique is poor. He can't tackle. He can't shoot. His control's a bit off. His touch isn't the best. And his passing range isn't. He's got no vision, and his passing range is poor. And he's not the best passer of the ball. I really do not see what he offers. Can he cross well? I've never seen him cross well.
When you describe Anthony Gordon, you know what just came up in my mind. It sounded like you were talking about Fred. No, I'm not even joking. Like, just rewind the tape and have a listen.
No, I know. I now you've said it, I can hear. Yeah, that's right. Except Fred is a bit less of a headless chicken. I'd say he's better positionally. I'd say he actually has a better region of the game. That's his one saving grace, I think, is that he does.
And he doesn't dive around as much as.
No, he doesn't dive much.
But nobody does. But nobody does.
Well, Neymar.
Nobody
in the Premier League, yeah.
Yeah, in the Premier League, I'd say.
Yeah. He's terrible for that. He is embarrassing. He's embarrassing for that.
No, the thing is, like, listen. The thing is, the Premier League has 20 goalkeepers starting every week.
Yeah.
And still Gordon dives more
than all of them put together is what you need to. He does. And his clothes sense, I mean, that's just some of the stuff he's got.
Yeah, that's another one. Yeah, don't even get me started on that.
What? You just think, what the fuck is wrong with you? Oh.
Stop swearing.
Oh God, I'm sorry. See, look what you've done, Seamus.
No, but I don't think.
I had to listen to it for a half hour. This is what you did when you were playing FIFA before. When you were playing FIFA before.
No profanity.
Yeah,
no profanity from me. Come on.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, you're right, David.
I've just got so because watching you play FIFA before, because like while we were waiting for Billy. For those listening, because I better explain this, because it's quick. You're probably thinking, what the hell is he talking about? Yeah, before he was live streaming himself playing FIFA. I don't know why, because
No, because neither of you can actually figure out how to share your screen, you idiots.
I shared my screen. It worked.
I don't.
It worked. You know it did. Anyway, so yeah, he's live streaming himself playing FIFA, and all it was just a constant stream of F words and other similar words. That was it. That was it. He said about commentating on it, and his idea of commentary was just lots of F words, basically. It really was like watching Colin Wanker on the sidelines. It really was. I just imagine Neil Warnock, but with a bit more swearing. And that's what you got with Seamus watching, playing FIFA. I wouldn't mind, but he wasn't even losing. That's the thing. You can understand if he was getting battered, but he was actually winning it, and he's still swearing. Sorry.
Should we move on to Aston Villa now? Chris buying Vitória de Guimarães. Did I say that right?
Portuguese side, yeah. They're a Portuguese.
Right. Okay.
Team. Yeah. So yeah, they bought. And that's why
they bought a stake in the club, not the whole club.
Yeah, 46%. The club still owns 54%, the controlling interest, but it's just a partnership with them basically, so they can. I think it's going to be similar to a lot of clubs do. Like Brighton, they got that feeder club, Union Saint-Gilloise, is it? Saint-Gilloise,
yeah,
whatever it is.
USG.
Yeah. In Belgium and teams like that, it's basically to give them a feeder club somewhere to send the kids out on loan and that. So,
even Bournemouth have a similar situation with loans.
It's quite scary, isn't it?
The scary thing is like Lens are battling for Champions League football over in Ligue 1.
Yeah.
I guess they're actually second. Last I checked, they were second, and they sold one of their best players to Bournemouth, who are also in favourite for relegation.
Yeah.
That's a very sad state of affairs in European football.
It is. It's insanity, but just bring us on to, while we're on the subject of buying clubs, what about Liverpool, Man U and Spurs take over, and Everton? They've had a bit of interest, haven't they, recently? Or
yeah, but for the prices they're asking, I can't see Everton getting a buyer. They're talking about 3.1 billion, for Everton.
Are you sure? What's a billion?
It's could have been million,
It's
but
still
it was
too
actually
much.
stated
Yeah.
as billion,
Obviously a
3.1 billion.
typo. Obviously a typo.
I can't see that, to be honest with you. I think they'll be in the same position as Liverpool will. I think they'll be someone coming on board, but not actually buying the clubhouse. And would you say Liverpool were in that sort of situation, Trish, where they'll ask for an investor to come in, but not be the major shareholder?
FSG have always been open to it. They've always been trying to bring them in. They've brought a few in.
Right.
You know, people mention Redbird, but that's a misnomer because they were already part of FSG. Who then, you know, bought into a bit of FSG, a bit more of FSG. Went out, you know, and took on their own, set up their own investment arm. What was I going to say? Yeah, that's all they've been doing. They've been trying to get. They were close to getting Chinese investment at one point, but
Right.
yeah, I did miss a chance. You're right, Seamus. I did miss a chance at 3.1 million. You could afford them, but yeah, they're never going to be. But you'd never want to pay that much for them, would you? Yeah. I mean, Liverpool, they're not up for sale. It was just to tempt people in to make offer, you know, to come in and talk. So they, you know, make it known that they were open to offers because obviously it's, you know, you let people know, but most people look at it and until they actually it comes out openly, nobody's going to register an interest. You know? So yeah, I don't see them selling it. I like I said, they've been building partnerships with people all the way through. So it just seemed like nonsense from the start when it came out, and I've heard nothing that's changed my mind on that. If someone came in with a good offer, I'm quite sure they'd say. Somebody said, come in and said, here you go, I'll give you 20 billion for it. Oh, I'm sure they'd jump on it and take the money and run. Yeah, definitely, 100%. If the offer was good enough, I just don't think that's what they're actually aiming to do.
And what about United? Do you think they're in the?
Oh, they
think they're going to get sold?
Oh, they will, because somebody will come in and buy them. Probably Qatari owners, I would have thought.
There's a genuine chance we might get sold by the end of this quarter.
Oh yeah, I expect it to be next season. I expect it to have new owners.
I think there is a realistic chance we get new owners by April.
Right. By this April, Dips?
Yeah, this April there's a realistic chance. I'm not saying it's gonna happen.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, it takes longer than that. I don't think it would be possible for it to be bought, and I don't think it'd even be completed in you know, by next season, even if it was sold tomorrow. I think you forget how long it takes. Look at Man City. People think it was bought out, you know, immediately because the owners came in and agreed a fee and all that. You know, the Abu Dhabi lot came in and agreed it was all done overnight, all the agreements and that. But the actual takeover still, I mean, it wasn't completed until after the January transfer window. Even though it was complete, you know, all the deal was agreed before the season started, because they ended up, remember, bringing in Robinho, that was brought in by the new owners before they bought the club as a statement of intent. You know, that was before they even, and they still hadn't completed, you know, till after the January window. It takes months to go through, so I don't see it being before next season. They might call it done because it'll all be agreed, but I don't think it'll actually be completed that quickly. I don't know why it takes so long. I've no idea.
And Qatar seems to be the most realistic option for Man United right now.
Do you not think it's the Qataris?
I think that seems to be the most realistic option right now, and it's a whole can of worms.
Which lot are they? Because it's Al Khalifi, isn't it? But is it the same as the ruling family, or is it a separate branch of the Qatari, the Al Khalifi family? Because it does seem to be Al Khalifi, doesn't it?
Yeah, there are so many Al Khalifis.
Exactly.
Confusing.
Yeah, so it's hard. I mean, if they're nothing to do, there might be nothing to do with the the ruling family at all, and still be the same name.
Yeah.
And this is the problem where people are saying they're not sure about wanting Qatari owners. Well, they might not necessarily be anything to do with they might not have anything to do with the laws in Qatar that so many people object to, or what's going on. You know what I mean? It's
No,
a bit hard to judge
it
them.
would be like saying like you don't want Chinese owners because you don't agree with the Chinese
Hmm.
government and all those policies, but lo and behold, the richest person in China is not quite fond of the Chinese system either.
Hmm.
Does that make him a bad person because you don't want Chinese owners?
Yeah, would you?
No.
It's such a difficult situation though, 'cause you can understand why people don't want an owner who's got views or beliefs, whatever, or that they don't like. You can understand why you don't want an owner like that, but you know what?
No, no, I think it's very understandable that you don't want Qatar royal family, the Qatar government,
Hmm.
basically the
That's what I
Qatar
mean.
regime owning the club, but it doesn't mean any and everyone who has acquired wealth in Qatar is cut from the same cloth.
It's like,
Maybe they're different, maybe they're not. It
hmm.
doesn't mean they're different, but
But it's like saying every rich person in the UK is like Ken Bates. The man was an absolute arsehole, but not everyone's like that. I mean,
Does that mean Ratcliffe's out of it now, out of the bidding?
no, he's not out of
Wasn't
it,
he?
but.
no, but I like Chris has said, like I'm never certain whether he's actually in it or not. He never
All
actually
right.
seems to make a concrete, realistic offer.
No, he seems
It's
to leave
like
it till
bidding,
until too late.
yeah, it would be like bidding 10 million for Rashford or 10 million for Salah or something. Like you already know it's not gonna be laughed out. So
But what he
Right,
does,
okay.
what he tends to do is say the asking price is 100 million for Rashford. He'd go in and he'd offer just enough that he knows you're not gonna take, you're not gonna accept it, but enough that like you think, oh, we'll enter talks, just so he can get himself seen to be in talks over it.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
That's what he
let's
does.
yeah. If the asking price is 1 billion, then he would be like 750k.
Yeah, just
No,
enough that
750 million. Sorry.
yeah. Yeah, it's just enough to get himself in in the spotlight and talked about and in reports, but not enough that anybody's actually going to accept his offer. Which is hardly a
Right,
surprise.
okay.
He's always said they're too expensive. English league, Premier League clubs too much, and he's
Yeah,
tried
and
to. He's a,
he's not wrong either actually,
mm,
because I think it's like for a reported for anywhere from 4 to 10 billion,
for someone
the
who
number somewhere in between
for
for
someone
Man
who claims
United.
himself to be a Man United fan, why has he got a Chelsea season ticket anyway?
Yeah, and for a guy who has Chelsea season ticket, why does he claim to be a Man United supporter? It is it's confusing.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
if it was a random club from London, then you could actually say like it's a
Well,
team nearby.
if he's at Brentford or something like that,
Yeah, even
it's just
Fulham.
because you want football.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't
Fulham
know.
but Chelsea. I mean, that's a rival for starters. And it's clearly not about the football. It's about being seen, isn't it? You know what I mean? It's a big club rather than. He just
Yeah,
seems like
like
he just seems full of shit to
and
me.
for my generation,
Oh, for
I
God's
guess
sake,
for my
scoring again.
generation, for people of my generation, Chelsea are actually the main rivals. In the
Yeah.
Mourinho era, the Ancelotti era, like for people who started supporting United from say 2004, 5 onwards to 2010, 12, Chelsea were the main rivals every season.
You're breaking up, mate. Sorry.
You are breaking up. You need to speak a bit louder, Deep, so turn your volume up, mate.
No, like Chris said, like Chelsea for the people of my generation, Chelsea
Yeah,
are the biggest rivals because 2005 onwards, they were always there or thereabouts, both in the
yeah,
league, Champions League.
yeah, I can see that, mate, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're
good.
not a small. They're a very like for me, like they're the main team that I don't like. or I see as a genuine rival even now. I hate losing to Chelsea.
Do you?
Yeah, I don't care much about Liverpool that way.
Well, they were the main rivals at at the time he's talking about, like, so
Yeah, from
Yeah.
showing
5
your
onwards,
age.
like it shows my age, but also from 5 onwards, they won like
Mm.
two league titles or three, and then also like they went to the Champions League final with us, and semi-final, and then again won the Champions League, took Hazard away.
Yeah, I can see that, Keith. That's an ongoing thing now. Right, so Chris, what about Nice?
Well, yeah, well, Rob's been caught out. He's, they've complained. Nice themselves have complained to police because apparently it was brought to their attention by fans. Like, I think it was Seamus actually. I think he was the one that watched it first. Reported to them that a pornographic film was made at their stadium during a match. They beat Lille 1-0 and at the end of the last month, and during the match, the porn film was made in the toilets, like in the middle, literally in the middle of the match. Apparently, what happened is just before, just as the game's kicked off, porn actress has apparently approached a. This is how the story is. Whether it's probably a plant anyway. The random supporter is probably a plant anyway, because it's obviously going to be Rob on his travels. Yeah, so the claim is that this porn actress approached a random supporter, offered him money to sleep with her in the toilets, and then they went for a film, and then got off to the toilets to bang him and make this video that's gone viral now. So, as Seamus knows, because he's watched it many times, just to check it out, haven't you? Just to check out how good the toilets are there.
Yeah, just to confirm, like, is there any reward for telling them who the actual
What,
guys
for having
are?
watched it
Yeah,
repeatedly?
no, for recognize, no, for identifying the culprits. Is there any reward? Because we know we're 99% certain who the guy is. Come on.
Yeah, we know it's Rob. Yeah. Interestingly, they're owned by Jim Ratcliffe's company, aren't they? They're one of the teams he owns. Nice.
All right.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So while as we were talking about him, he'll do anything to get himself in the public spotlight. That guy, wasn't he, Jim Ratcliffe? I tell you. Has anyone checked it wasn't him?
He can try as hard as he wants, but even in cycling, his team is getting beat.
I was wondering where you were going to go with that one. I was going to say, I thought you were going to make a joke about him being old and struggling to keep it up or something then.
No, I think he's lost touch with the whole sports side of his game.
All right.
They don't win anywhere. Nice, they're not as good as before. Ineos,
No,
not as
that's
good
true.
as before. I guess maybe we shouldn't want him as owners.
Maybe he's not
No,
that
maybe
good.
not.
Yeah, maybe he's not actually that
Maybe,
good.
yeah, maybe he's past his prime.
I don't know if it was him in the film. I think he's doing all right, mate.
No, but come on, it's
We
gotta
know
be
it's
Rob. It's
Yeah,
gotta
we
be
know
Rob.
it's Rob.
That is why he's too busy to turn up for the podcast.
Exactly. We can't get him on because he's too busy filming porn films around the world.
No, he's
In
out and
between
about
cruising.
dogging and cruising.
Yeah. Let's hope his wife isn't listening to this one. You do anything to get him divorced, won't you? I tell you.
Can we move on to VAR now?
Yeah.
There's been a lot of controversy this weekend, especially over VAR. Some really bad decisions. I don't know if you've seen the penalty at Chelsea that Chelsea should have had. One of the saves of the season, I'd say.
Yeah, from Sushik. Very good.
Did you watch it, Deeps? Did you watch it?
No, I know the clip. I've seen the clip.
What would you say that was that a bad decision?
Oh, come on, the ball didn't touch his hand. It's Chelsea. You're asking me to talk in favor of Chelsea. Just 5 minutes after I've said I
Yeah,
don't
he
like
just
it.
wants Chelsea to lose. But no, it's a disgraceful decision. And
I, th-
not
I think
only
I think it should. I think it should have
go
been
on.
a penalty for West Ham. They robbed of 2 points.
That was a cracking save, but that was one disgraceful decision. But what about the other one where they took 3 minutes looking at the offside for Brentford for their goal and then drew the lines with the wrong person, which ended up meaning the goal was allowed. And everybody could see it was offside. It was
Oh, but
just an
before that,
absolute disgrace. Go on,
yeah,
mate.
but before that, when the game was still 0-0, Brentford scored a goal, if you might remember. Why
Yeah,
was that?
yeah.
Why was that disallowed?
I don't know, Deeps. That's what I'm saying. There was a few disgraceful decisions this week, and it's just not working. It's not professional enough. They come out and apologise to Arsenal and Mikel Arteta, and that's no good to him. An apology. It shouldn't be a mistake that someone. It's a total incompetence on behalf of VAR. To not draw the lines of the right person's foot of whether he's offside or not.
It's not just that. It's the fact that the guy who did it is one they've withdrawn from refereeing because he was inept. So they've put him on VAR duty only. So he's a VAR specialist now, and he forgot to draw the lines. I mean, how does that happen? I mean, that's got to be down to PGMOL. That's them at fault. The organisation as a whole, because they're obviously not trained him correctly. Because I don't care how much of an idiot he is, if he's if he's not learned what he's got to do, the basics of the job, then he shouldn't have been in the position in the first place. Simple as that.
No, you're right. But does it bring into question the integrity of these people doing VAR and the refereeing system that there is at the moment? Is it open to corruption?
Definitely.
There's talk about
Mark Halsey.
Like Mark Halsey's been talking about corruption with referees, the ex-referee Mark Halsey, and he's saying that there was spot fixing when he was doing the job about corners given and whatever. You sent us the text on it, Tris, and
yeah.
What do you think's happening there, mate? What do you think's happening with the refereeing situation?
Well, it's not the only time he's alleged stuff like that. I mean, do you remember when a few years back he said, I think it was an England player he said had done it, had asked him, they were coming up to a derby match, and he wanted to get suspended so he could have a break before the derby match. So he asked him to book him so he'd have the whatever it is 5 bookings or 10 bookings or whatever, so he'd miss a game, he'd miss the next game, and then he'd be fresh for the derby match. And he's saying he booked him. A player asked him to do that, so he did. I mean, that for me,
that's corruption, isn't it? Corruption.
Should have sent him off. Should have sent him off. That's what he should have done, because he's asked him to cheat. I'd have sent him off for that. I'd have said, no, that's tantamount to match fixing. You're asking me to deliberately give you a booking. And for all I know, you've got people betting on that, and that's why.
But it does bring into question the integrity of the PGOML and why VAR is so controversial. Things like that happening, and it's not just this weekend. It's happened a lot of times over penalties being given, penalties not being given, and ball in the area being given, not being given for the same offence. And it's just a total mess. And I think it's not fit for purpose, I really do, at the moment. I think they should scrap it and then review it, get a better system and bring it back in. Because at the moment, this just isn't working and people are fed up with it. supporters are fed up with it. It's just not working.
I wonder how much is, how much of this is related. I mean, corruption. Is it just it's finally emerging because, we've obviously got the Man City corruption. Is this just it's rife? Is it just it's as rife as we all believed? We always have thought it for years, but nobody's actually come out and said it.
Yeah, well, you've got to believe that things that happened in over this weekend and other times, that how many mistakes can you make before you call it corruption? Spot fixing like happened in cricket. It's now a betting thing with football. How many corners, when a corner's given, if a penalty is given, and it is open to corruption. And they're doing themselves no favours by making these really stupid decisions. And most people I know are fed up with it. They're fed up with with VAR altogether because they're not getting the decisions right. And it's just not on at the moment, and it's ruining the game, I'd say.
Do you think the bad decisions? I'm asking both of you, so I'll start with Seamus because
go on, mate.
Because you've been quiet for a bit. Do you think the bad decisions are deliberate rather than mistakes?
I've been of the opinion that these guys are too inept and not capable of actually being not even good enough to be corrupt. But after reading the quotes from Mr. Balsley, I'm starting to doubt it. I think there's a genuine case to be made for spot fixing and corruption being a real possibility here. It's too much. If an old guy like Billy with his poor eyesight can spot the clangers, then it's a bad sign. If a young up and coming whippersnapper like me, if I was the one making those things, then you're gonna say he's too gifted with his eyesight to notice all those things. But even Billy, who can't actually see the connect button on Discord, he can't figure out how to connect on Discord, can see how to operate the VAR technology, then come on. No, but all jokes aside, all jokes aside, but come on, it's even if it's not corrupt and it's just ineptitude, if you can't enhance the game with it, then there's no point of having it.
Yeah, I'm totally with you, Deeps. Yeah, it's if it's not corruption, it's certainly open to corruption, and if it's ineptitude, why should it happen in a professional game? That these are supposed to be professional people. They're supposed to be the top officials we've got in the country, and it's ruining the game. It's affecting promotions. It's affecting relegation, championship winning teams to win championships and cups. It's just wrong.
Is it not spot fixing when the Man City handball against you?
Possibly, Chris. I wouldn't rule that out. I wouldn't rule that out.
City won the league because of that.
Of course they did, yeah.
If that had if that wasn't a win, they're 1 point behind Liverpool at the end of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. But why isn't it being brought to the attention of the whole league, the whole setup in football? Why aren't they calling them out on it? Because is everyone involved in this match fixing? I don't know. But it's, things like the Man City one against Everton, which was so blatant, wasn't given, cost Liverpool the league. It's going to happen this season. Teams are going to get relegated, maybe by a point, because it's tight down there. Maybe by a point, maybe by 2 points. And that can be, how can that be construed as ineptitude or as a match fixing? I'd go for match fixing myself. I think there's too much, it's open to corruption too much at Stockley Park. Why are we putting up with these officials who absolutely not doing the job properly.
Well, I mean, is that when we already know Barcelona? One of the things that I don't know if I mentioned it earlier when we were talking about Barcelona. One of the other things that was also alleged is they had not alleged, it's known, is they had a referee on the books. They were paying him he's never put in an invoice, this referee, but his company was being paid money off, on the side by Barcelona to work for them.
Yeah.
Now, he claims he was just there as a consultant to help the players understand the rules, but there was never an invoice put in to Barcelona. There's no sign. It never went through the books. It was never declared. It's just been discovered.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's so is that just what's happening in England as well? I mean, you look at when you watch Harry Kane play, you got to think he must be paying a few referees off, because he seems to be able to do anything he wants without getting a red card or a foul given against him, or every challenge on him is a foul, and every challenge he does, even if even if it's head height, it's still he's not going to get sent off for it, is he? I mean, we saw that last season.
Well, we've had mine and Deep's views on this, Tris. What's your view on the VAR system for a start, and the alleged corruption in the game at the moment?
Well, there's definitely corruption, 100%. It's always been there, and it always will be there. I mean, it's part and parcel of it. It's never been cleared up. You've still, Harry Redknapp got away with it for years. Alex Ferguson got away with it for years. You know what I mean? It's Sam Allardyce. You can go back as far as you want. It's always been happening, and they've never actually done anything about stopping it. And this is the problem. But then you realise that's because they don't want to stop it, because they can take backhanders as well. To me, I just think the whole game's full of corruption. The very fact that the PGMOL have taken charge of VAR, rather than saying, right, we need specialists to run this, because they don't need to know the rules of football as such. They only need to know certain things. They only need to know the bits that they're responsible for. That's all they need to know, is the rules surrounding the one bit they're responsible for. So put them in. Give them this one area of responsibility, say offside. You have one set of people who just there to look at offside. You have another set of people, and they shouldn't be referees. They should be nothing to do. They should be separate. They should be VAR operators only, and their only job is to decide whether to recommend to the referee, go and have a look at the video and see if you think you should change your mind or not. That's it. They shouldn't have anything. Else to do, or to say to him, do you know what? You missed that. A player's while you had your back turned, because you were you can't help it. You can't see. He can't see underneath. No. He can only see in front of him. He can't see behind himself. If someone punches someone off the ball, how can he see that? But we've caught it on VAR. We've seen it behind you. Somebody's just knocked someone out. You need to go. You need to red card number 8 for them. You know what I mean? That's what he should be there for. That's it. But they don't need to be a referee. So why are referees doing it? It should be somebody who's independent, who's gotten, so they're not related to the referees. They've got no relationships with them. They shouldn't know them at all. They should be completely separate from referees, because otherwise it's more difficult. Because you don't want to tell your mate, hey mate, you fucked up there.
Can you tell me why they don't refer them to the screens on the side of the pitch? If there is something controversial, why don't they say to the referee all the time, and not they say it on the odd occasion, why don't they say, go and have a look at the screen and make an informed decision from what we can see, and draw the lines for him, or whatever. As you say, it doesn't have to be a football person. Draw the lines for him and say, there's the red line there of the man in the red shirt, and the blue line, the man in the blue shirt. Or if someone's handled the ball, show him that and let him make the decision. It's taken out of his hands.
And why not have an ex-player in there as well? I mean, why is it not ex-pros as well involved in like the decision, like red cards and that? And the other thing is, they were told, this is the thing Arsene Wenger said, one of the things he wanted was nobody was to watch slow motion replays when they're doing VAR. The operators should have no access to slow motion. You know, they should look at
Right.
incidents at full speed. Yes, they should get all the camera angles, all the different camera angles, so they can have a good look and see what it's like. But you shouldn't get it in slow motion because it changes the view. You know what I mean? You're seeing
Yeah.
it differently. You can't tell. At slow motion, it makes things look more deliberate
Yeah.
because your
So
mind
the different
sees
angles,
things.
by the way.
Sees
Different
things.
angles.
Yeah. Yeah,
It
but
might look like a penalty from one side, and it mightn't look like a penalty from the other
yeah,
side.
exactly. But different angles.
Yeah.
You know that if you're looking at it and you can't decide, and you've seen 4 different angles, you look at it and each one's giving you a different idea. You know, one's making you think, oh, it's definitely a penalty. One's making you think, oh, it's definitely not a penalty. Another one's making you think, well, might be a penalty. Another one's making you think, might not be a penalty. Then that should surely be a decider that it's not a clear and obvious error. So whatever the referee's decided, just play on.
Yeah.
That's how it should be done, but they're not. They're stopping the game. They're taking 20 minutes looking over these incidents, and then coming out with the most ridiculous decisions. I look at
I know. It's just so. It's corruption. Go on, Dave.
it's got to be. Seamus? Oh, is he gone? He's
He's
probably
there.
fallen asleep. He'll be falling asleep. We bored him. He does this.
No, I've not fallen asleep. I don't know why my icon was buzzing because my mic was turned off.
I thought you were on a swear break.
Yeah, he probably was. He was probably swearing.
That is why my mic was turned off.
Yeah, so he can
So
swear.
all the profanity that is away from the YouTube stream.
Yeah, we know what you could normally calling us. We even named the podcast after it.
Right. Is there any other things we need to discuss?
Anything? I can't think of anything now. I know I did say there was other things, but I forgot what they are. I should always just write them down, really, shouldn't I? Put them in there and then just stick them at the bottom to it. You know, as any other things. Yeah.
And the business, yeah.
Yeah.
No. Okay. If you want a topic, to end the podcast on,
Go on,
I'm
mate.
gonna ask you a question. Antonio Conte, Tottenham Hotspurs.
Oh.
What
Yeah.
should they do? Take a twist. And
Well, he's
before,
had this,
and before you answer,
Go on, mate.
before you answer, I'm gonna just give you the information. I think
Go on.
his contract runs out end of this season.
Right.
So stick a twist. Do they back him long term? Does he sign a new contract? Like on just Antonio Conte, Tottenham Hotspurs. What do you think should be done?
Well, I think he's got a good excuse, if you don't mind me answering fair. I think he's got a good excuse at the moment. He had the stomach operation, didn't he? And he's out now for the foreseeable future, as far as I know. I think he's a good manager. Does he fit Tottenham Hotspur? Probably not. I think he'd walk anyway because he's that type of manager. I think he'd be gone next season. I think if I was Tottenham, I'd be looking for another manager. He's done okay. Don't get me wrong. He's done okay with Tottenham. They're still up there. They're challenging for a Champions League spot. But they're not one of the better sides, I'd say, in the league. And I don't know whether he's improved them that much. And if I was Tottenham, I'd be certainly looking to replace him. Myself, that's my view on it.
Okay.
Chris?
I think thing is, he wins things. We know that. He does tend to bring trophies wherever he's gone, but like he's at Spurs. They're not going to win anything. They're not in the running to win anything. They're not going to invest enough money to win anything. It's just a bad fit.
Yeah, but
the football's awful.
yeah. When Tree said when Tree said he wins things, I was just thinking, but
Not as
Spurs never.
Yeah, exactly.
But Spurs never. Spurs would lose a final if they were playing against no one.
Yeah, do you know what? They used to win the FA Cup regularly. That's all they were good for. They were always a cup side, but now they're not even that. They're just a nothing club anymore. That is in terms of trophies, they're not going to win it. They're not even going to come close to challenging. You never think that they're in the running to win it, to win the league ever. You never, when you talk about who's going to win the league, does anyone ever mention Spurs? I don't think I've ever heard anyone say, put them as a contender. And if you're going to pay Antonio Conte to manage you, the only reason you do that is to win a trophy, is to win the league, because anything else he's not good at. His football's so diabolically poor to watch. It's too defensive. It's it's just not it's not appealing to watch at all. It's got no excitement about it. There's no skill factor. It's just all hard work and drive and all that. But it's a bit like Burnley under Sean Dyche, but with more expensive players. And it's like. You've got the players there to do better. I just don't see him as a Spurs type manager. The thing is, they were always flair team. They may not have won much, the odd cup, but they were always exciting to watch. Even if you didn't like them, they were a good watch. You know what I mean? You could sit and watch them. A bit like West Ham, they always played good football. Even if you didn't like them, you'd still sit and watch them if they came on the telly because they were a good watch. That's how I always see them. And Conte's not going to do so. I just don't see the point in paying Conte's wages when he's not going to bring you what you pay Conte to do. He's just not. And he's not suited to the club. He's not going to take them forward because he'll sign older players because he's looking to win now. That's his. That's his ideal. He looks at winning now. And I mean, they've already lost the sporting director who wanted him. So, because he's banned for however many months. 18? No more, isn't it?
Paratici.
Yeah, Paratici.
What do you think, Deeps? Would you replace him? And if you did replace him, who would it be with? If you were Spurs man?
No, just to be cheeky, I would say Marcelino because we were talking about it. Because he's a pound and Antonio Conte.
He's Antonio Conte, but with good football.
No, but I guess he's even more. If it is at all possible, he's even more. He's even more of a moaner than Conte.
Oh yeah, God, and he bounces up and down on the sidelines. It's mad. He's not right in the head.
No, but he's a very fun guy. I think he's a very fun guy. He would be an addition to the Premier League.
Oh, it'd be great.
No, but like Chris said, there's no point having Conte if you're not gonna actually make a run for the trophies. And if we are being honest, I know football isn't played on paper, but on paper Spurs are nowhere near top 4, let alone being a genuine title contender.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not a good side.
I see what you're saying. No, they've got a few good individuals, but is that down to Levy not investing in players, or is it just the way the Spurs play?
Levy's not the owner; he's the chairman. He's got a very small percentage in it, but he's not the owner. Enoch are the owners. Joe Lewis, Enoch.
All right, okay.
So.
Do you think that's a problem? The owners.
Well, they built the stadium, haven't they? Brand new stadium, so.
Yeah, I know they built the stadium, but you think they've invested enough in players?
No, but like a stadium costs a hell of a lot more than the play. You know what I mean? And it's like.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, so, it was something like 500 million or something.
Yeah, exactly. So, I think it cost more than that, didn't it? In the end, didn't it end up being something like 800 million?
Oh, I thought it was 5, but I might be wrong.
I think that was. I can't be bothered to Google it. I'm being lazy. I was going to Google it, but I thought, no, I can't be. I'm thinking that was what it initially was priced at, and then it ended up costing more. But I might be getting mixed up because thinking about it, because the Barcelona revamped the new camp might be 800, maybe 800 million's in my mind.
Right.
Because that's about €1 billion would be about 800 million, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
And that's how much they've taken out as a loan. That's how much they say it's going to cost to do the new camp up, refurbish it.
Right. Talking of stadiums, Man United, it's been a lot in the press about maybe them getting a new stadium as well and knocking down Old Trafford. What do you think about that, Deeps?
Maybe you could ground
Knocking
share
down
with
Old
Everton in
Trafford?
the meantime. While it's being built.
Yeah.
The only way to
Just
get
before
Premier
I
League
answer,
football. For a few
Go on,
years.
Deeps.
Sorry.
Deeps, you there?
yeah,
You
it's
can
one.
sleep again.
No, it's £1 billion for Tottenham Hotspur Stadium.
So
All right.
it did end up
That is
costing
the
more.
first answer on Google. That is the first answer on Google.
All right. Okay.
I did think it
That's
was
a
a lot
lot of
more than
money.
half a billion, yeah.
Yeah, I think the original thing when I read it was it's going to cost 500 million, but it must have gone up, obviously.
Yeah, I was pretty sure it overran cost wise, but I didn't realise it went up to like $1 billion.
Double. Yeah. Right. So, what do you think about the new stadium for United, Deeps? Would you be in favour?
Like it's a well-known fact. I've never actually been to Old Trafford, so I can't comment on how the stadium actually is.
Well,
But
no,
from everyone,
by like you
yeah, but
make it
it's
sound like you're
well-known.
famous and everyone knows you. You know, these diva models, they think everyone knows their ins and outs, don't they? If you walk down the catwalk and you think you're well known now, mate. Oh, come on. Yeah, it was over $1
No,
billion.
but it is well known that Old Trafford needs to be. I guess revamped would be a too small of a word for it. It needs a lot of work done to actually be in line with the modern times. That
Clear
is
out
the general opinion.
and clear out the rats.
Yeah, rats, leaking roofs,
No, this is
broken.
genuine. There's a rat infestation, Bill. That's not a joke. They've
Oh,
had
is
a rat
there? Oh,
infestation.
I thought you meant, I thought you meant to
wasn't
somebody else's.
No, that wasn't. Honestly, they've had a rat infestation. I know. It seems. I thought. I realised you thought I was taking the piss, but no, honestly, they've genuinely had a rat infestation because it's so old and ramshackle. It happens with an old buildings. Rats get in.
I haven't been to Old Trafford for many a year, but it was a fantastic stadium. It's been over 30 years since I went to Old Trafford, but it was an absolutely fantastic stadium, I must admit.
When was
One of the best
but-
I've ever been to.
But Billy, like in the past, how long has 17 years since Glazers took over United?
Yeah.
I think there has been only one instance when there has been new paint put on Old Trafford.
All right, okay.
One fresh coat of paint in 17 years.
It's not good enough. No, it's not good enough. That.
No, the only stuff that's been done to the stadium, the training ground, etc., anything like that, any of the facilities, the only thing that's been done was stuff that had been in planning and was going to be done before the Glazers took over. Since they've taken over, absolutely nothing has been done at their behest to the training ground or any of the facilities.
Yeah, like that. Okay. That was one of the major criticisms made by Cristiano Ronaldo when he returned to United. Like the club, all the infrastructures, everything was the same as before
when he left.
Yeah, and like he complained about having like broken tiles on swimming pool.
Yeah,
things like that.
You would think that the upkeep of the stadium is one of the priorities for any club, wouldn't you? You know, Liverpool have done it. They built a new training facility, which is fantastic, by the way. And they've upped the ground. You know, they have FSG have invested in the ground as well, and I think you've got to, haven't you? If you're responsible owners, that's your legacy, isn't it? To have things going in the right direction. But for not to do anything for 17 years is not a good look at all, is it?
Well, it's how you enhance your
Your profile,
value.
yeah,
No,
absolutely.
the value of your asset. Is
Yeah,
to
yeah.
invest in it.
Yeah.
Like if Tottenham were to sell the club, they can point to a £1 billion worth of stadium. If you're gonna
Yeah.
look at buying Man United, you're gonna have to say £1 billion in investment needed for a new stadium.
Yeah, yeah. I suppose so.
So would you go for a new stadium? Do you think they need a new stadium or just upgrade Old Trafford?
I don't know. Like I'm not in a position to comment either ways, but I'm just gonna say if we're gonna either ways, we need to make sure we get more than an 80,000 seater.
Well, I mean, there's no reason why they couldn't do 80,000. Before the Glazers came in, there was a plan. I mean, this is a long time ago. There was a plan to upgrade Old Trafford to over 80,000, but United decided against it. It was all agreed and all that, but United pulled out of the construction because they didn't think they'd fill it, which shows how times have changed, obviously. So there's been a plan in place, plenty for as long as I can remember.
And the Glazers won't do it because of the need to move aside from that railways track or what. There's a track for railways, so it's gonna cost.
Yeah, because the one stands over the railway, basically, isn't it? And that would be if they expanded it. And that's the problem, is the construction would have been massively expensive, and they weren't convinced that, like, obviously it'd fill it. I think is there an option to, like, maybe move it slightly? Like, I've seen teams.
Have you seen the infrastructure around Old Trafford? It's not the best, And you still, if you go on to Manchester to Old Trafford, you still have to get off of Victoria and walk.
Oh, yeah,
there's no station actually built there, to accommodate supporters or nothing.
But that's what I'm saying, if you're knocking down the stadium and building a brand new one in the same place, but just slightly moved over so you're not infringing on, you could actually build a station because the track's there already. Why not build a station there? That could be used on match days. Maybe do that. I don't know if it's. I mean, obviously, I don't know if it's possible to do that. But, like, surely you could buy some land around there. Surely the money these clubs earn, it'd be possible to buy some of the land around there to move the state. I mean, you only have to move it over a bit, so you don't have to build over the railways anymore, and instead you could put a station inside the stand, so to speak. You could have it as a feature of the you could have it as a feature of the ground that and that it's something for for future tourists and stuff to look at and say, like, there's a train station inside the stadium. That's how big Old Trafford is. That's how important. Things like that. I mean, those kind of little things give you something just a little different from other clubs. Like Brentford used to be known for having a pub on each corner, so that gave them something that everybody knew Brentford was, because they had a pub on every corner of the ground. These things make a difference in your profile long term, even if you go through a bad patch.
Old Trafford Cricket Ground has got a station right outside the front door of it. The turnstiles. It's absolutely fantastic to go as a cricket watcher, to go to Old Trafford. Just get the station, and it's like 50 yards. You've got to walk to get through the turnstile, and it's fantastic. And as you say, it's a great selling point. But and for police and whatever, to have people coming in trains right into the stadium.
Exactly.
Make the station the away supporters thing, and there's no trouble then. Right off and right back into the train if you want to. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because you can pick them up as they're getting on the train, rather. You can move them so you can get them on the train as well. You know what I mean? You can watch them on the train. Make sure there's no, the only people with tickets.
Yeah.
You can have specific football trains just go into there. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, the old specials.
Yeah,
the old
exactly.
specials.
There's so many advantages of having a train station there. It does seem like I don't understand why. It's right by the tracks. Why has there never been a station there anyway? I mean, somebody will have to. I'm sure maybe the line's not the right. Maybe it's just a freight line or something. I don't know, but I don't see why you can't why it couldn't be updated. Surely it makes sense for everyone.
I don't know.
Be better for surely the train company would benefit from having a train going there. It's going to make them a lot of money because even on non-match days, you got the museum and the shop.
Yeah.
And maybe I'm missing something. It does seem
something to do with it.
It just seems like you've got a ground like that that's such a well-known name. It's been around so long. It's got so much history connected with it. I mean, during World War II and for a while afterwards, weren't Man City playing there as well? Didn't they ground share for a while?
I wasn't sure. I wasn't around then. You might be thinking.
I thought you might have been. That's why I was asking you. See, this is where I thought you would have been, but obviously you're a bit old then, so you wouldn't have been. You'd have been busy. You'd have been away fighting in the war, wouldn't you, mate? That's what it is.
I was a glint in my father's eye there, I tell you.
I don't think you were ever. I don't think anyone had ever called you a glint.
Some people call me almost that.
Yeah, yeah. I can think of a few words for you.
Right, boys, I'm going for my chili con carne. And,
she did make you chili then.
Yeah, she made chili con carne. Yeah.
She obviously found a cheap microwave meal deal in Aldi then. Actually, it's probably more likely she found an old Netto one in the freezer, mate.
Right, boys. Thanks very much. I shall see you next Thursday.
Thank you, Billy.
Thanks. Bye, Deeps. Ta-ra, Trish.
Bye, dear.
Ta-ra now.
So we'll see you next Thursday then, everyone that's listening. Thank you, Seamus. Thank you for listening. Anyone who actually has, I'm quite shocked.
See you next Thursday.
Thank you all. Bye-bye.